Hey everybody, welcome back to The Stuff of Legend. My name is D'Lo and I've got another video for you guys. I'm going to be making some announcements actually about something that is going to be very personal for me, but also will pertain to you guys as it's going to affect what's coming up in the very near future. So for us, we're actually going to be talking about quick channel update. I'm going to be taking a week off of YouTube, probably a week and a half, so that I can be with my wife and kids. And when I say kids, I have two right now. The third one is going to be here any day now. Could be tonight. Could be tomorrow morning. We don't know. The due date is the 29th. I'm recording this on the 27th at 9:30 p.m. So we're getting very close to that actual due date. I'm going to go ahead and transition into just me talking here on YouTube. You guys can have this. There's something in the camera shot here. I want to get out of this shot if I can. There we go. Lots of things coming up right now. I've got a lot of things I'm working on YouTube, things that I'm planning. I'm planning more fan casting summits. I know you guys really like those. It gets a lot of views and it's something that a lot of people can get involved in. And that's something that I want to start maybe possibly opening up to people that maybe don't have fan casting accounts. I'm looking into doing some sort of a summit for casual fans where I put out a poll. Anyone who wants to get involved with it can go there, click the link and whatever. It's not available right now. I'm just working out these ideas and I want to hear back from you guys. So if you like that idea, and you don't run a fan casting account, you don't have a nerd channel or a nerd page, but you like watching these movies and films and stuff, I want to open up the possibility for you guys, casual fans, to get involved with a summit, as well as the traditional summits that I hold, where it's fan casting accounts that do this regularly. I want to keep those separate though, because I give them 2 votes. I'm going to give people that I call casual fans 1 casting vote, as opposed to the 2 that I do for each individual. And I'll probably stick to one actor, 1 character, you know, that sort of thing for mass public. That way I can have more people involved and it's still less editing, less presentation, less it'll be less work intensive on my side, less editing, that sort of thing. So I'm going to look into doing more of those because people love that type of content. I've also recently gotten a lot in the way of Funko Pops, and I know a lot of you guys like Funko Pops. You like my Funko Pop posts. I collect them, and I know a lot of you guys do, either your inbox or out of box. You collect just Marvel, just DC, just Star Wars, just Lord of the Rings, just whatever, and I collect almost all of that. So one that I wanted to show you guys, this is not an official, like, I'm not going to do an unboxing or whatever, but I found this at Target, and my mother actually bought this for me as a gift since I'm about to have my daughter, my second daughter. So this is a gigantic Boba Fett with an alternate paint job, all black. It almost looks like some version of like a Darth Maul Crimson Dawn type of paint job. It looks so cool. It's a gigantic 10-inch Funko Pop, way bigger than a normal pop. And I love that stuff. Jessica and Adele, what's up? I've got people on Instagram. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, I'm also live on Instagram right now because I wanted to make sure everybody that follows me is going to know what I'm about to say right now. So I have a daughter that's going to be born in the next, who knows whenever, day, couple, you know, few minutes. It could be in the next couple of days, could be a week from now. We don't know. But when that happens, basically from this point until a week after that happens, I'm going to take a break on YouTube just so I can be with my family, focus on taking care of them, making my wife comfortable and happy, and making sure my kids are all taken care of. I'm going to be super dad, basically. Hashtag dad life. Many of you guys know what I'm talking about. It's going to be necessary for them, and it's going to be necessary for me. So I want to make sure that I'm able to do that, and I won't be able to give you guys that attention while my family demands that attention as well. So I will be taking a break off of YouTube. When I come back from that break, that's when I'm going to start working on getting you guys, my followers, involved. I want to get you guys, your voices. I want you guys to get involved. So like I mentioned before with the summits that I do with the fan casting accounts, I get like 20, 30 guys on Instagram together, and I have them cast their votes for a specific topic: Spider-Man in the MCU, Fantastic Four, X-Men, the next Batman in the DCEU, you know, that kind of stuff. and which are all things we've already done. It's on YouTube. Those guys I've been given a voice to because I love their content. I want to make sure that they have a place where they can be seen, recognized, and then we can also show the public what people want. Because most people are like, who's going to play Batman if Ben Affleck's not there? I don't like that question to not be answered. And many of these guys don't like that question to not be answered. So we like to answer that question. And that's what that's all about. But you guys all have your opinions too. So I want to get casual fans who don't do this like you and me, like me and Correct Rankings Fancast and One Hell of an Artist and all of us that are out here trying to put out content for you guys and try to stay up to date on the news. For those of you guys who are just trying to keep up with the news and you're not trying to put out content yourself for this, you're just as much a fan as the rest of us. I call you guys casual fans where it's not like a diehard obsession, but you still love the content that we love and it's not more or less invalid. You know what I mean? So I want to give you guys a voice, put out some polls, and then make a video kind of like a summit for the casual fan audience so that you guys can tell me who you want to play X role, Y role, Z role, that kind of thing. And so that type of content will be coming. And I will do some more fan casting singles. I'm going to try to focus a lot on fan casting. I've been doing news and updates, which is great. It's easy to put out for myself because I keep up to date with this stuff anyways. But I'm going to also work on fan casting singles, probably some Funko Pop single videos, and also that casual fan summit for casting MCU, DCEU roles, maybe some upcoming Star Wars roles. The reason I know some people have asked me why I don't do like Star Wars or I don't do like Harry Potter or Avatar: The Last Airbender is because part of that is you don't really know what direction they're going. You know, like you don't know if they're going to be using certain characters. And you can take a pretty well-educated guess with stuff like Fantastic Four. There is four, you know, there's four characters that we know are the core characters they're probably going to want in the MCU, so we can go in that direction. When it comes to Star Wars, they're trying to lean away from the Skywalker saga. They want to tell new stories, and we don't know what they're going to do. People have speculated that they're doing the Old Republic. I do think they will do something in that direction, but the next trilogy they've announced, or the next saga of stories they're going to do, is not the Old Republic. It's something called the High Republic, and so they're doing that on purpose, so it's new content we don't know. And I'm not opposed to that. I think it's going to be really good. I hope. But we'll see. We will see. So I want to get to some of these questions because we got stuff coming in both on YouTube and on Instagram. I'll take Instagram first. So we've got on Instagram, everyone's saying hey, everyone's saying what's up. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any comments. Okay, so then One Hell of an Artist says, for your future summits, you will need help editing your pics. Please let me know. I would love to help. Thank you, bro. And I do appreciate that. I will probably end up hitting you up because the more I can collaborate, the more I can get more help with this, the better I believe that this will be, not only for the project itself and the timeline of getting this thing done, but also I think it'll be better so that for the collaboration's sake, because I love working with people, especially when it comes to things like this, nerd content and whatnot. So yeah, I'll totally hit you up and we'll see what we can make happen. And then Correct Rankings Fancast says, when is the new fan casting summit, my guy? Well, I do think that it's going to take a delay to get started. What I'll probably do is I'll create the documentation that I always do. I'll put that out for all of you guys, hopefully, if I can, within the next, maybe not week, because I'm about to have my daughter. Maybe as the week I come back for YouTubing after my daughter is born, then I will put that out immediately. That way you guys can already start working on your picks. And then I'll just allow for a wider timeline for you guys. Normally I give you guys 1 week's time to get all of your choices and picks in. I'm probably going to be just as swamped as everybody else, so I'll probably give you guys even more time than that and just be a little bit more casual on what we're dealing with. So I think it'll be a little bit more of a timeline. I used to do these once a month. It's not going to be possible at this point just because of how crazy my schedule's gotten, but I'm going to try to make that happen for you. And then I've got, let me see, One Hell of an Artist says, you should do a pop collection video. That would be sick. I should definitely do a pop collection video. I will see what I can do. The difficulty with that is that I think I have like 250 pops, maybe more. So it'll take a while just to name them all. I'll see what I can do though. Maybe I'll take it chunk by chunk and just give you guys what I have circa January or February 2019, and then do another one later on in the year to update things that have changed. Because even in just the last couple weeks through gifts and in December with Christmas, I think I've probably gotten something close to like 30 Funko Pops. No joke. And so yeah, I'm really happy with the growth of this thing, and I'm grateful that I didn't have to spend a ton of money myself to get these things, which is awesome. I love my family knows me so well. And so I'll see what I can do there. Bryce Nadell says, "Hey, what's up, my dude? One of my best friends right there. My cousin Jess X, what's up? Good to see you again, dude. I gotta get more of that Power Rangers comic books and whatnot. I had the Power Rangers versus Justice League, which was super sick. That comic was totally legit. My buddy has a few Power Rangers comics that he was totally like, oh my gosh, you got to read these. I didn't ask if I could borrow them because he was still reading them, but I totally got to get my hands on some more Power Rangers comics because they're freaking great. Me and my cousins, we love Power Rangers. We're huge diehard Power Rangers fans. And then one hell of an artist. Oh no, sorry. Correct Rankings Fancast says, "Hey man, congrats on your daughter. Can't wait to hear the name." Yes, the name. That is something that my wife and I are we've whittled down a lot of options, and we're coming to a sort of a I don't know what you would say, a consensus on a few different names, and we're just working it out. We've never had this big of a difficulty naming before. With our first daughter, Micaiah Jean, it was really quick. It was really easy. We got that name really early. We stuck with it. We just knew we loved it. And then after that, Azrael Jordan, almost immediately, boom. Not a lot of names other than that considered because we just fell in love with it right away. We were like, this is it. This is the one. And with this baby, it's been like, dude, we have like no consensus except in the last like 2 weeks. And so with that, we've got a few names that we're kind of like shifting around. And what about this? What about this name with this middle name? You know, what about this middle name with if you swap that for the first name? So we're just working it out. It's a fun process, and we'll let you guys know as soon as we have the name. We'll blast it, announce it, full everything. You'll see Instagram posts from my wife, Mrs. Loera Love. And yeah, it'll be really cool. So I'll for sure post about it too. That'll probably be the only social media I'm really doing at that point, unless major news breaks. I'll put it in my story, but I won't like linger on it. You know what I mean? Because I gotta be with my family. And then so then we have let's see what this is. One hell of an artist says, "Geez, I'm a rookie." And then he also says, "I used to read Power Rangers versus Justice League during high school. They were always entertaining." Heck yeah. It's so much fun. That to me is like, that's like when Batman crosses over with Ninja Turtles. You don't have to take it super seriously. It's like, it's for the nostalgia of it all. It's like, I'm a huge fan of these guys. I grew up on Batman forever. Bring it on. Let's do it. Cross it over. Whatever all these different comic book and character companies are willing to do, I'm 100% for it. If Marvel and DC, like Warner Bros. And Disney says, you know what, let's do a huge money-making bout where we have the Justice League and the Avengers come together and they're supposed to fight each other in this like multiversal crossover thing, but then all of a sudden a bigger threat comes from both universes and it's basically like Marvel versus Capcom's ultimate storyline with Ultron and, you know, and what is it, Sigma? That would be so cool. Like, I would love that. I don't care how it goes. If they want to say like DC's better than Marvel or Marvel, you know, like whatever, make it happen. You know what I mean? And for the record, I do think that the Justice League on a power level is probably way stronger unless you're going to involve Scarlet Witch, in which case she can do anything, you know? So with that, that would be tipping the scales. So anyway, let me go ahead and jump right. Oh wait, no, hang on, I missed one. Correct Rankings Fancast says, I heard that Boom Studios Power Rangers comic series is incredible. Gonna have to read it. That's exactly what I've been hearing from everybody who's reading it, is that Boom Comics is killing it with Power Rangers right now. So if I'm gonna start reading a series, that's the one I'm going to pick up and purchase next. Out of any other comic I've been hearing the Batwoman series is really good. Comic Man Jake has been putting me onto that one. And neither of us have really liked the show so far. It's kind of hot trash, really. And I hope it does better. I hope that it goes well. I wish nothing but good for Ruby Rose. I hope she gets a long and lasting career, because she was awesome in the Crisis crossover. I thought she was great. Her costume looks sick. The show sucks. And so, which is, that's unfortunate. That's kind of how I felt about the Fantastic Four 2000s films, was that I actually really did like the cast. The movies are just not good. I enjoy them. I still rewatch them, but they're just not good. They didn't understand the villain. They didn't understand, so it was just what it was. Anyways, we have, let me see. Did I miss anything? One Hell of an Artist says, one comic series I enjoyed was Defenders 2017. Sucks that they canceled it though. I never read that one. I would like to though. I know that comic book Defenders is a lot of the time been actually much more either cosmic or multiversal, universal, that type of thing, like where Doctor Strange and Silver Surfer and a few others. That's my favorite version of the Defenders, but I really do love what Netflix did with the Defenders property on TV. I love the Netflix shows. Well, specifically, I love Daredevil. I love Iron Fist season 2, and I love Punisher season 1 and 2. So those three specifically are my jam. I stopped watching Luke Cage because I'm not trying to watch all the sexual content. And then and Jessica Jones, it never really appealed to me. So I didn't really want to watch that either. But I watched Defenders, and all of them were great on screen. Luke Cage and Iron Fist together was my favorite part of the Defenders. And then the second best part of that was when Matt and Jessica were together on screen. That was also really, really good. So, yeah, that was great. Anyway, and then One Hell of an Artist says, I hope Brother Voodoo actually gets into the Doctor Strange movie. I actually hope that he does, but at the same time, in my non-understanding of where they're going exactly with the film, I do understand a great deal. Like, they're going to include, obviously it's Wanda, it's Doctor Strange. Multiverse of Madness implies that Wanda's struggle to control her powers is going to affect the multiverse, possibly creating an alternate universe like House of M style, where mutants reign and that kind of thing. Her brother lives, whatever it is, because the show is supposed to have potentially Quicksilver and then carry into Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I can't wait to see what they're going to do. It's going to be wild. And I love the character Brother Voodoo. There was I can't remember what it was, an episode or a film or something, where Doctor Doom and Doctor Strange, maybe it was a comic book I read, I don't remember. I get them all jumbled now. But because this is a long time ago. But Doctor Strange, Doctor Doom were in a competition among all of the sorcerers to become the next Sorcerer Supreme. And Doctor Doom almost had it. Dr. Voodoo was getting close, but he ended up falling short, like 3rd place or something like that. But I really do think that, what's his name? The guy that played, what was it, Bushmaster? The guy that played Bushmaster in Luke Cage. I did like season 2 of Luke Cage. Because I watched that one because I think I read the rating or whatever, the review, and it had less. I didn't have as much of the like sexual content or whatever. They toned it down, so I was like, okay, I can watch that because I don't mind, like, honestly, I don't mind the cussing or any of that. I don't do any of that in my life or my channel or anything like that. But for the most part, like, I'm not trying to watch that type of stuff, which is a bummer too because I liked how The Witcher started, but then it was just so overtly like sexual. I was like, I can't, I'm not gonna. But anyway, toss a coin to your Witcher anyway. And so then Bryce says, Jess told me to stop being immature, so I told her to get out of my fort. Out of my fort. Did you make a fort out of boxes? I wanted to steal a bunch of boxes from my work because they're gonna get thrown out anyway, recycled. I was gonna take a bunch of them out of the dump and just come home and build a fort for my kids. But really, it's for me because I wanted to build that fort. So I'm totally with you. I'm tracking with you there, man. I have a theory, and let me know if you guys agree or disagree. And I'm very serious about this. I think boys never grow up. They just get really, really, really good at making money. Some more than others, but we never grow up. We always want our toys, whether it's cars, whether it's a boat, whether it's, like whatever it is, Funko Pops in a garage with a bunch of microphones, cameras, and blah, blah, blah. Video games. Boys don't grow up. They just get really, really good at making money. And women like that. So that's my theory right there. Let me know what you guys think down below anyway. So Bushmaster was sick. 100 Hammer says, but The Witcher goes ham. I know that's the bummer. I love Henry Cavill to death. And by the way, I want to let you guys know something, okay? There is actually on the 29th? On the 29th, I believe, is Henry Cavill's 9-year anniversary or something from when he was announced to be the next Superman in Man of Steel. It's been that long. And unfortunately, we've never gotten to see what happened at the end of, what happens after Justice League. He has yet to rise. And so there's a movement right now, a hashtag that is going to be starting. Everyone's gonna do it at the same time. I think it's the 29th. I'll double check that for you guys. DM me so you can get the date if you want to be involved in this movement. But we're all gonna make a social media video, just a quick clip or a story, and we're gonna tag Henry Cavill and we're gonna tag Warner Bros. And we're gonna hashtag release this. It's part of the release the Snyder Cut thing, but it's not about the Snyder Cut. It's just about getting Man of Steel 2 done. And so it's I think it's he has yet to rise, or he hasn't risen or something like that. He has not yet risen. And I'll let you know what that one is. But the other tag is release the Snyder Cut, just so that it can get attention. And it's so that we can let Henry Cavill know that we love him. We still want him. Also to let Warner Bros. Know we as fans are not done with Henry Cavill. Please bring him back. He's the man. And Man of Steel 2 needs to happen at some point. So that's going to be happening. Hit me up in the DM after this live, and I'll let you guys know what that's all about. But shh, keep it quiet. That's going to be a secret movement. I just want to let you guys know for those who are watching. And then also, I do wish that they would put out a version of the Witcher that isn't explicitly like it's not like nudity everywhere. You know what I mean? I'm not about that content. That's not why I'm watching these fantasy programs and things like that. I want to see some action. I want to see some good storytelling. I don't need nudity. I'm not trying to watch pornography out here. You know what I mean? So that's not what I'm doing. All right, next up, let's see what we got here. I'm going to take the comments now from YouTube, and I'm going to bring them over this way. Let's see what we can do here. I'm going to take these. Jeffrey Lane, what's up, my man? He says, I'm happy for you regarding my daughter. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. I really appreciate you saying that. I'm going to copy all of, oops. That didn't work. Okay, so I've got all the messages here on my notes. That way I can read them. For some reason it wigs out on my thing. I still have yet to fix that. But for those of you who are on YouTube, really quick, it says Anthony Manzano says, Daniel, I recommend the next fan casting summit. You should do the Midnight Suns from Marvel in the MCU. And then who would you cast as the Midnight Suns in the MCU? I'm actually, I'm not familiar off the top of my head with who the Midnight Suns are. If you were to tip me off to that, I might be like, oh my gosh, yeah, I totally remember that. It's not coming to mind right now. And it's hard for me when you ask who would you cast for an entire group of people, because I don't have that off the top of my head right now, especially for this particular group, because I can't remember who they are. I'll get back to you about that. Just remind me, and maybe next time do an individual character. That way I can think of that one person and be like, oh yeah, this is who I think fits for that. This is why, And but other than that, it might take up too much time. I'm trying to keep this short so I can get back to my wife. So we have so then we have here Anthony Manzano says, Daniel, How do you combine the Transformers G.I. Joe into a movie if you have the chance? Very, very simple. I would have G.I. Joe get briefed on a new assignment where aliens have landed and invaded Earth. He shows up and it's the Transformers. They open fire thinking it's gonna be a bad thing, and the Transformers start a fight. They start a fight, but then it comes to a mutual conclusion. It's gonna be like almost any team up movie you've ever seen between good guy and good guy, ever. It's gonna be both side thinks the other one is evil or bad for some reason. They end up realizing they're okay, but there's another threat they have to take care of. That's pretty much what I would do. So I'd have to figure out what the third threat would be. It'd be interesting to see a 3-way crossover. So like if it ended up being like Thundercats, like a Thundercats Transformers G.I. Joe triple crossover. That would be freaking cool. And then you have the villains from Thundercats come over. You know, that'd be so fun. So that's kind of what I would like to see. That's a huge probably never going to happen. Probably. You can never really say never. If it could make money, there's a possibility they might do it. But it's a slim probability because that would involve 3 different companies coming together and being like, yeah, this is what we want to do. Let's risk it all. And I don't know that they would do that. So that's just me like tossing a coin in the well, wishing for that kind of thing. So regardless. Then he says, Anthony Manzano says, if you have Amazon Prime, I recommend you watch the Jack Ryan series season 2. I actually started watching Jack Ryan season 1 with my wife. We got to this point where Mina Masood was about to like rape a girl. and then my wife was like, turn it off. I don't want to watch it anymore. And so I never ended up getting back around to finishing season 1. So I probably wouldn't mind going back and watching the second half of season 1 and then going in and watching season 2. Because I did actually like a lot of it. And I like John Krasinski. So I would like to finish that. And then next we have Daniel's Hot Topic says, hi Daniel, what's up? What's up, my man? Love your name, by the way. And then he says, did you see the new episodes of Supergirl and Legends Post-Crisis in Earth Prime is awesome. I have not seen those shows after Crisis. I watched all of Crisis, freaking love Crisis to death. You were in the conversation, I believe, with my Crisis discussion. So fun, so cool. But I have not gotten a chance to go and follow up with the CW shows. It's been really busy. And my wife is about to go into labor at any point now, any day now. So we've been kind of like on edge. We've actually been to the hospital to have her checked because contractions were like intense and whatnot. So, although that didn't end up panning out, you know, it was okay. It's just part of the process. So anyone who has kids has probably been through that. You know, you show up, you get checked, and then it's like, no, it's okay, keep walking, you know, whatever, drink water, you know, all this stuff they're going to tell you to do just to stay alive. And so, yeah, they just say stay alive and wait it out. And yeah, so that's pretty much what it is. So I don't have a lot of time right now. I'll try to get to that if I can. And I haven't watched the last seasons of any of the CW shows at all. I kind of fell off the CW train for a bit. I'll have to get caught up on almost everything in order to keep plowing through, unless you're like, don't bother, just watch the new stuff. Because if you tell me that, then I'll just go ahead and say, you know what, screw the last couple seasons, I'll just watch the new one. So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. Anthony Manzano says, Daniel, are you a fan of the James Bond movie series? And if you are, who do you want to play James Bond after Daniel Craig? Okay, and you guys are going to probably be shocked. I've never seen a single James Bond movie in my life. And so that's a franchise that I never got into because I never watched it. If I watched it, I'd probably love it. It seems like something that would be up my alley. I would love to watch James Bond. I've just never gotten a chance to get started on it. Because it's also like, where do you start? Like, should I go all the way back to the very beginning and watch it? And I like classic stuff. I like old school stuff. I'm not like knocking anything that's old school just because it's like, oh, the graphics or oh, the action sequences were not. No. One of my favorite TV shows of all time was Get Smart. old school, all that good stuff. It was great. I love that kind of stuff. So that being said, I'm not opposed to older, but it's hard to jump into something that is so long standing. It's like someone being like, I don't want to start watching MCU films because I don't want to watch 23 films in a row so I can watch the next one. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm kind of at with the James Bond franchise. So I haven't seen it, but if I could pick someone to play James Bond after Daniel Craig, I'll say this. I think that an interesting take to go, which I think would deviate from where they've been trying to push James Bond into. If he was a little bit younger, I might actually go with someone that is a little bit classier, like Martin Freeman. I know he's small. I know he's not like some like hunk or whatever, but he is classy. And that's something that I think is a part of James Bond that hasn't been focused on in a little while. I know all of them are classy, all of them are dapper, all of them are, masculine. So that's probably not a great pick. But again, this is coming from a guy that knows almost nothing about the franchise from not having watched it. So forgive my ignorance. Another person I've seen thrown around a lot is Idris Elba. I don't know much about the history, so I don't know what contextually would fit in or work. I think it would probably be fine. He's British, but a lot of people were also saying James Bond needs to be a woman now, and I think that's stupid because a huge part of what James Bond is it's the guy that every dude wants to be because it's the guy that every woman wants to be with, and that completely dissolves if you put a woman in the role. I say make films like Black Widow, which is basically the equivalent to like what a James Bond would be. It's a spy film, a spy and espionage film that's starring a female spy, a female assassin, like we saw in Avengers in the first like 10 minutes of Avengers Part 1. That's what I think needs to happen with that. So if you want a female James Bond, make Black Widow and make Black Widow a franchise. Make it a flashback series that goes all the way through the continuity of the MCU up to the point that she dies. I don't care if it's all flashbacks. You make it, because that's the espionage films that don't exist in the MCU right now. We had Winter Soldier. That was it. You know what I mean? It was Winter Soldier, nothing. Now we're getting Black Widow. That's basically the second espionage film in the MCU. So make more of those and make more other films. But I think James Bond, is nothing sacred. Let James Bond be James Bond. It doesn't have to be Jane Bond or a female 007, because I understand 007 is the actual what do you call it? The agent number. It's not his name, it's the agent number, and technically speaking, anyone can wear that. It's like a baseball number. That's just your assigned number. But that being said, that shouldn't really matter, because James Bond has always been James Bond. It's been the same James Bond wearing 007 since the dawn of time, even though it's different actors, different stories being told. 007 has always been James Bond. You don't need to change that just so you can have a female spy espionage film. Make a ton of Black Widow films. Make a ton of other spy films, not 007, that are female, and make them awesome. Make them better. You know what I mean? Like make 100 billion Charlize Theron films that are spy espionage, and make them the best you've ever seen. But leave James Bond, James Bond. That's what I say. So not everything has to change. Keep things that people like the way they like them. That's how you're going to make money and not kill the franchise. And so that's what I have to say. That might sound a little ignorant. Sorry if that does offend anybody, but it's my job to speak what I feel about what I've got going on. So, if you disagree, let me know why down in the comments. I have nothing against female in action films, as you guys already know. You've probably seen my my Ariel film video, and you've probably seen a few of my other things, like my defense for Rose Tico and all that stuff. I've got nothing against that. I just think that some things should be left the way that they are. And that's what I have to say. So let me get to the final comments, because I think I hit the bottom of the first wave of comments. Yeah, let me see if I can get over here. Daniel's Hot Topics. Let me copy and paste yours back over here to my notes. Sorry for the delay. This will be it, and then I'll cut out because I got to get back to my wife. So it says here, Daniel's Hot Topic says, I really hope they return to Smallville Earth someday. Me too. I freaking love Tom Welling's Smallville. I love Erica Durant as Lois Lane, and no one has ever been a better Lex Luthor than Michael Rosenbaum. It's never happened. There's been a few voice actors that have come close, but that's it. I have not liked any of the other Lex Luthors, and that's including Gene Hackman. I really haven't. I have not liked any of the other Lex Luthors. I thought he was a boring villain until Lex Luthor was played by Michael Rosenbaum, changed the game, and became one of my favorite cinematic or television villains of all time. I really love Lex Luthor because he wasn't a true villain. I mean, he was the villain, but he also was. He wasn't. It was like he was wrestling with whether or not he was villain due to his blood, due to who he was in relation to his parents, or whether it was because he was raised by his parents. It was literally the nature versus nurture, and you felt sympathy for him, hoping that he could be better than he was, but then his relationship with Clark, it continued to drive him into that state of, no one can trust me because maybe I'm a Luthor after all, you know, and that's just what it was. It's beautiful. I love it. Michael Rosenbaum's the man, and he always will be. So then we have this. Let's see. Daniel's Hot Topic says, think about it. Tom Welling uses blue kryptonite to get rid of his powers. And later on, Greg Berlanti says in Smallville, Earth survived the crisis. Survived meaning it never died. That has to be a hint. Totally agree. I really do think that there. And plus, the fact remains is that the Crisis on Infinite Earths, even everything that they destroyed in that series, they're not gone, because in the beginning and at the very end of the Crisis, opening credits, end credits, they were saying the following: it's infinite, or it's every universe multiplied by possibility, you know, and so it's like infinite worlds multiplied infinitely. So like, even if they killed Earth 66, which is Adam West and Burt Ward, there's still an infinite multiplied number of that exact Earth with slight variations multiplied by every possible change and deviation. So by killing Earth 66, Burt Ward is still alive on infinite Earths. It's the definition of infinite. So technically speaking, they killed a bunch of stuff, but literally everything they killed technically still exists infinitely by infinite possibilities. So it's like, it's fun. It's fun to try to wrap your brain around it. But at the end of the day, anything that you want to exist technically does exist, because it's multiplied by infinity and infinite possibilities. So, yep. So then Dustin Weeb, my man, Dusty, what's up, dude? He says, yo, bro, thy beard is weird. You're absolutely correct. My beard is, in fact, weird. That is the truth. My wife, yeah, it was funny. My wife was like, at first, like the first day that I started growing it, she's like, babe, shave. And I was like, no. And then she's like, she'll keep bothering me about it, but she didn't. And I just kept going. I was like, I wonder how long it'll go until she asks me to shave again. And she didn't. And it just kept going and going and going until I realized, I was like, you know what? Even though it's thin and ugly, it still exists. And it's more than I thought it did. So this is kind of like an experiment of manhood, even though it's quite boyish. I know most of you guys probably had this when you were like 10. Not me though. I've got my father is Native American with like zero hair on his entire body except for his head, which is good for me because I'm not looking at going bald anytime soon. Probably if I'm like my dad, I might never go bald. But that being said, I also don't have like any facial hair, so it's like spotty and like whatever. So yep, that's the lot I was dealt in life, and I will live with it. So no complaints on my side. Dusty says, I know we're going to have daughters on the same day because we're cool. Like, that's true. My daughter's due date is the 29th. And so that's very, very soon. It's 10 p.m. on the 27th. So technically, what is that, a day and 2 hours? Yeah, it's like 26 hours, right? So 26 hours from now, we could have a daughter on the same day. That's pretty cool. I would like that. That'd be awesome. And then Daniel's Hot Topic says, Daniel, do you watch Star Trek? Dang, dude, you're like exposing everything that I don't watch. So I don't watch Star Trek. You know what? Why don't I just go down the list? I don't really watch Star Trek, not because I don't like it, but because it was never in my house, and I never grew up with Star Trek. I grew up on Star Wars, and my parents, they weren't like Star Wars versus Star Trek. It's just that they were movie people more than TV show people, for the most part. So we watched Star Wars. And so, yeah, I never got into Star Trek except for the J.J. Abrams films, which I know they're supposed to be divisive for fans, but I really liked those movies. I really did like Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Zoe Saldana, Benedict Cumberbatch. I liked all of it that I saw. And so I think I missed the last one, though. I didn't get a chance to go out and see that one, but I saw the first two, and I loved them. All right, so then next, Anthony Manzano says, Daniel, Marvel's Midnight Sun is Blade, Moon Knight, Ghost Rider, Morbius, and Morbius and Doctor Strange. Okay, I don't know that I'll do a casting for anyone that's already cast in the MCU, because for me there's no real point. I like casting stuff that has not happened yet, that is still yet to be cast, and we know that Mahershala Ali's already Blade. Jared Leto is Morbius, and technically, yes, that has been canonized in the MCU. Whether or not they're going to keep that under the confines of stories in the MCU told for Spider-Man specifically, or if that's going to bleed into the MCU at large, we don't know, but it is canonized so far. You can see my videos. I made a couple videos about that. And if you guys need more on that, I will make a specific video talking specifically about the evidences of why you can know as a fact that it's in the context of the MCU. I will break that down if I need to. But Morbius, Doctor Strange, and Blade are already in the MCU. Ghost Rider is not yet cast. Moon Knight is confirmed to be in the MCU, but not yet cast. So there's only two there that don't really have castings per the MCU. And so in that case, I would suggest, I do really like the idea of Daniel Radcliffe as Moon Knight. He's very talented, very versatile, and I think he would do a good job of playing the different personalities of Mark Spector and the other person. I forget the names of the other guys, like the cab driver and all that. But there's multiple personalities to Mark Spector. I would really like to see Daniel Radcliffe get a shot at that. And if not, possibly James McAvoy. Like, I would like to see someone that's good at doing different, like very, very different types of roles. That would be really cool. Also, or you know what? Colin Farrell's really good too if you want to go older. But I don't know what age range you want to hit for Moon Knight. So people were also saying Keanu Reeves. I think that could be really, really good. And I would like to see Keanu get into the MCU. I think that could be a great role for him. I don't know how well he'll do as far as playing the split personalities. But if we're going to get some sick action, to me, that's almost, you either have to go hard one way or hard the other. You know what I mean? You can meet in the middle, but if you want it to be great, you got to really lean in one way. And I would prefer leaning into the multiple personalities side, because you can always get stunt actors for the fight sequences, and make it grade A combat. So I would actually prefer to go the other way. That's the exact opposite way that I'm leaning actually for my Batman take, and I'll explain why that is in a different thing. I've got a defense for and I'm actually gonna make this video. I've got a defense for, and I know you guys are gonna get annoyed. Don't care. Scott Adkins for Batman should be something we're looking for, because we've never gotten Batman as one of the best martial arts fighters in the DC universe. We've never seen that on screen. It's never happened. We've seen him be really good. We've never seen him be the best. The closest we've ever gotten was Ben Affleck as Batman in those fight scenes in the warehouse and all that stuff, because that was the best fighting we've ever seen from a Batman. And even that was not like That wasn't Ninja Batman. That was the closest thing we've ever gotten, which I love. That was why I love Ben Affleck more. He's my favorite Batman so far. But we can do, I think, even better than that. And I think the person to get for that will be Scott Adkins, and just focus on the combat. You don't have to focus so much on the dialogue as much. It can almost be like a thought narrative, and then get into the fight sequence. You know, like have him track down bad guys. So I'll make a different video. I know you guys are not gonna appreciate me saying that right now. I know a lot of people don't want Scott Adkins for that, but you're the ones I want to talk to about it, because I want to hear your arguments for it after I explain my theory about it. So that was just the gist, but I'll get back into you guys about that at a different time. So this, and then finally, Daniel's Hot Topics. I do not watch Star Trek. I would love to eventually. I have to get going, guys. I'll read the last couple comments, and then I'm out. Okay. Venom versus Morbius. Very, very cool. I think between the two of them, Venom should win that. But I think we'll actually find that both Venom and Morbius will fight on the side of Spider-Man versus Carnage and the Sinister Six, probably. So that's probably where what we're going to end up seeing anyway. Because they're building up anti-heroes in their own films. Villains don't get their own film, though. It's going to be Spider-Man versus Venom for a little bit, Spider-Man versus Morbius for a little bit, but both Venom, Eddie Brock, and Morbius, Michael Morbius, are good dudes. They're just, you know, anti-heroes. They've got problems. They got big-time problems. And I think they're all going to come to agreement that Carnage needs to be stopped, and not one of them can take them down on their own. So that's what I think we're going to see. So speaking on Superman, I hope the Brainiac gets introduced as a villain. I think Mark Wahlberg could play a part. That could be really good. I love Mark Wahlberg. Never really thought of him for Brainiac, though. I was actually thinking of someone with much more of a chiseled face, like Benedict Cumberbatch or something like that. But I would love to see that. So actually, if you guys saw Krypton, they did such a good job with Brainiac. I was blown away. That is, right to this day, that's my favorite Brainiac, is what they did on Krypton. It's unbelievable. And their Lobo was super, super cool. So if you guys haven't checked out Krypton, definitely check it out. Anthony Manzano. I just read that one. Daniel's Hot Topic says Daniel Radcliffe as Professor X and Daniel Craig as Magneto. That would be really interesting. I don't see Daniel Radcliffe as a Professor X. Yeah, they'd have to show me that. They'd have to show me like a clip or something, you know, for me to buy into that. I think Daniel Radcliffe is not a terrific choice for Professor X, I would suggest. I think he's far too young. Far too young. I think no matter what age you're going for, Professor X is still a professor. And I don't think that, given his relationship to the X-Men, unless you're going to start in the MCU with a young Professor X and a young Magneto, I think he's the wrong call. I will say, though, Daniel Craig as Magneto is a lot closer to that role than Professor X would be, played by Daniel Radcliffe. So that's what I think. And then you say, but is Venom in the MCU? My friends on Discord disagree. I say it could be, but they say no. You have to understand that Venom and Morbius are in the same universe. That's 100% verified and confirmed by Sony themselves. And Morbius just canonized the Sonyverse, not just Morbius, but the Sonyverse into the MCU with Homecoming and Far From Home. That's a fact. And so, yes, Venom is now, in relation to Morbius and Spider-Man, in the MCU continuity. Vulture has crossed over into the MCU. Characters from the MCU are crossing into the Sonyverse. So by that logic, whether or not we're going to see Venom in a specifically MCU film is undetermined, although I bet it will happen. But we know that the MCU and Venom are in a crossed path now due to Morbius. So yes. And you can tell them that Venom 1 was not written to be in the MCU. It was written to be separate. Venom 2 is being augmented for that. And whatever they're going to do with Venom after Venom 2 will almost certainly have MCU ties. Almost certainly. So that's it. All right, guys, I'm out of time. I got to get going. One hell of an artist. You say I got to go sketch some content for my page, but it was nice watching. Bro, have a good night. Good night, bro. I know you're already gone, but thank you so much for tuning in. Everybody else, we've gone 50 minutes. Before you go, being that you're from LA, what's your reaction to the death of Kobe? You know, that's a tragedy. This will be the last comment. I know I've said that a couple times. This is it. Kobe was a legend for me growing up. I am myself not from LA. My father is from LA. My family is from LA. I have grown up mostly in Northern California. But we've always been Lakers fans, and that it's just a tragedy. It's a horrible tragedy. And it's a tragedy in the truest sense. It's an accident that happened. Presumably, this is presuming, not fact, because I don't know this to be fact, but it sounds like a helicopter malfunction crashed into the hills of Calabasas, and his daughter was there, and a whole nother family was there, and it's a true tragedy. And everyone was broken up. I remember we just got out of church when we started hearing the news, and within 5 seconds, the entire church knew. We were all praying for the family and stuff. And it's heartbreaking to think that he has little girls that are, and even his older daughter that are still alive. They'll have to live without him, a father. His wife has to go on with a newborn baby. You know, it's like a year or something. And without him. They're without their father now, and the sister and the daughter, and that's just, it breaks my heart to hear that. It's awful. I don't have the words for it, but I would encourage any of you guys who pray for the families, pray that God will give them strength, God will give them peace, and He'll be with them in this tragic time. Comfort them, comfort their hearts, because death is something that is shocking to all of us. We were not made to experience death, but we experience death because of sin. And that's, you know, this is sorry to get, you know, religious and all that stuff on you guys, but I wanted to just share my thoughts. If you ask me, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. So you're always welcome to ask me anything. I try to keep these topics separate, but this is a channel update. And if anyone stuck around 52 minutes, it probably means you're willing to hear whatever I have to say. So thank you so much for hearing me out. But just, you know, my heart goes out to the family. It's the hardest thing I can possibly imagine, and I cannot imagine how you're feeling right now. You know, may the Lord be with you. And yeah, guys, just keep them lifted. Tweet it out. Just let them know you love them. Let them know you're thinking of them. If you pray for them, and let them know you're praying for them. That's all, guys. I just wanted to say. Anyways, I'm going to get back to my family. Keep me in mind. I'll be having a baby very, very soon. Really excited about that. And I will talk to you guys as soon as we know more. As soon as we know more about the baby, when it's coming and that sort of thing, I'll maybe tweet it out. Follow me at F of Stuff. Let me see if I have the, I don't know if I have my social media. Maybe it's on the end screen. There we go. So the end screen here, do you guys see the Twitter right there on the side right there? On the other side of this little microphone, F of Stuff. Follow me there. I'll probably shoot out a tweet to let you guys know, like, hey, you know, baby's coming, or this is the baby, or this is baby's name. Welcome to the world, little blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to say a name right now because we haven't selected one. But thank you guys for all of your comments. Our favorite comment goes out to 1,000 Hammers for the coolest name dropped so far. Was definitely Night Punch. Love that name. So we'll see if that one gets selected. It's almost basically a lottery at this point. So love you guys. We'll talk to you later, and I'll see you guys next time right here on The Stuff of Legend. Hey guys, D-Lo here. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And remember to share this video with all of your nerd friends. I know you got them, and you know who they are. Leave a comment below and let me know what you thought about this discussion. Let me know what you would like to see me do a video on next. Subscribe to the channel because you're a legend, and we have that in common. Also be sure to turn on notifications to be notified right away when I upload my next video, or so that you can be alerted when I go live next time. That way you'll never miss a thing. Check out the other videos on the channel so that we can have a discussion on all your favorite movies and TV topics. Thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more right here on The Stuff of Legend.